Hi, and welcome back to Astral Doorway. So many of you liked the lucid dreaming versus astral projection video, and Mark D even had an experience from it, which you can see on the screen. This is what I mean when I say through understanding alone, we can begin to have deeper experiences because we contemplated and exercised our intuition deep enough that it had an impact on our subconscious. So, in the lucid dreaming versus astral projection video, you'll notice that I basically said I deliberately avoided getting into the subject of unconscious dreams that can happen in objective realities. I avoided getting into that for the purpose of saving confusion, keeping things simple, and also for the practical purposes of attaining astral projection experiences. I said that it's better to just write off all unconscious dreams, if you're not lucid or aware, as just dreams. Because after all, we're here to experience fully conscious out-of-body experiences with our waking awareness intact, just like we have in our physical life. That's why we're here, right? To achieve this. If you didn't watch that video, I recommend listening to that first before this one, if you like. A link to that is on the screen now. So, in this video, let's now explore the fact that some dreams are actually unconscious astral projections. We're going to look into the complexity of non-physical phenomena and go beyond our usual understanding of lucid dreaming and astral projection and how they can mix up in our experiences. So, some dreams can be unconscious astral projections. For example, when sometimes people are visited by relatives who have passed away, and they wake up remembering them as only dreams, but in reality, there was some objectivity to it. Also, there are many accounts of friends waking up and having the same dream, or you could also have just remembered any sort of unconscious astral projection, such as being in an astral classroom, like one of the experiences I shared last week. So yes, dreams can sometimes be objective reality, but when it comes to practice, it can be difficult to differentiate these experiences. You only gain a better sense of identifying your experiences accurately after a good amount of practice. Everyone's dream worlds are different and unique after all. Now, on the opposite side of shared dreams, non-shared astral projections are also possible. Astral projections that are in an individual reality or an internal reality, you could say. These aren't as common, but they can happen. For example, perhaps you're visiting a possible future reality, or visiting past events of Earth, or perhaps seeing your past lives. Seeing your past lives is a very individual experience. You don't have anyone else with you because it's a sort of remembering in the astral plane. For me, I've had very intimate and individual experiences of being within certain energy centers or chakras, you could say, that I felt were in a deep and profound part of myself. It was inside my own microcosm, you could say. I've also had experiences where I went into voids. I was, fully conscious. It was the astral plane, and I started to see fractals. These could be related to the mental plane, planes which exist beyond the astral plane. But perhaps, I will share all of that in the future. So, in the lucid dreaming versus astral projection video, I showed you this diagram. Now, This is actually a basic version of the diagram for practical purposes of understanding how awareness can grow or expand to achieve astral projection. However, the topic of this video is to talk more broadly about the astral plane and shared dreams, so take a look at the original diagram on the screen now. See how the consensus and individual realities span across all three states of awareness: unconscious dreams, lucid dreams, and astral projection. Individual reality means an experience where only you are in the environment, whereas consensus reality is typically an environment which you can share with others. So, as mentioned in that other video, this diagram was created by someone called Vanquish in the Astral Projection subreddit and the Astral Lounge Discord. So, if you just take a look on the screen, this is what Vanquish explains. Traditionally, we would call all dreams individual experiences. However, in the realm of astral projection discussions, dreams are often associated with experiences of low or lower lucidity/awareness. And the truth is, many of these experiences are not individual realities. It is also possible to have individual experiences of astral projection. Here's also another version of the diagram with more basic terminology, just to make it a bit simpler if you're struggling to conceptualize. Now, let's go even deeper and consider another possibility that I think is true. Now, I understand this won't be as readily understood or accepted by most, so please keep in mind this is just my own theory. It's the fact that we can be in a dream and astral projection at the same time. Too much info to handle? Well, I have my reasons to believe this from experience and speculation. You see, take me, for example, who has had many astral projections. I can have experiences which are extremely real and tangible, more real than physical waking life. And I feel like my awareness on the diagram is at a mind-expanding, transcendental 100%, right? However, in the ultimate scheme of consciousness, I'm really only at a very small percentage of being awakened. Why? Well, because I'm not some enlightened being who knows all the answers of the universe, right? I'm not Buddha or Jesus. I'm just a regular person like you or anyone else. I know I'm not that enlightened and don't have all the answers. Anyone who says that they have reached ultimate enlightenment and thinks they have fully awakened and that there's no room for more expansion is sincerely and utterly wrong, frankly. Don't believe anyone who says that they have reached enlightenment. Anyone who has truly awakened and enlightened would never say that because they understand. You know, our consciousness as individuals and as a species will continue to grow in this life and beyond. When you think you've reached enlightenment, there's always a bigger mountain ahead. And I'm reminded of a quote from Helena Blavatsky that I think sums this up well, which you can see on the screen. She says, "Whatever plane our consciousness may be acting in, both we and the things belonging to that plane are, for the time being, our only realities. As we rise in the scale of development, we perceive that during the stages through which we have passed, we mistook shadows for realities. And the upward progress of the ego is a series of progressive awakenings, each advance bringing with it the idea that now, at last, we have reached reality, but only when we shall have reached absolute consciousness and blended our own with it, shall we be free from delusions produced by Maya." Maya meaning illusions. I'll leave a link in the description for the meaning behind Maya if you're interested. And what she meant by absolute consciousness is what I mean by the fact that we, as general beings, no matter how awakened or enlightened we are usually only a few percent conscious in the ultimate scheme of our whole consciousness. You know, absolute consciousness would be a true 100%. I was also part of a Gnostic group who taught that most of humanity, on average, are only 3% conscious and 97% unconscious, and that those who are perhaps very awakened are around 10% conscious. But even that would be a generous measure. This is pretty much in line with my own belief. You know, just remember, I'm only expressing my own belief and speculation. You don't need to agree with it or believe it. I'm simply just presenting you the idea so that I can set some ground for how dreams and astral projection can happen at the same time. It will all link. You know, you'll also find scientific studies stating that we only use a small percentage of our brains, and also psychological studies stating that only a small part of our psyche is conscious. So, with this idea that overall, as beings of consciousness, we are only a tiny bit awakened, take a look at this diagram, which is a more general indication of how most of us are. And that even if we are in astral projection, that 3% probably only goes up to maybe 4, 5, 6, or 7%, no matter how profound the experience is. It's my understanding that if you were a truly 100% conscious being, a 100% self-realized being, there wouldn't be a thing you didn't know. You would know every thought and feeling of everyone you met. You'd know every event before it happened. You'd be able to answer some of the biggest mysteries in spirituality and science and solve many things and much more. This is the power of consciousness, our untapped potential. And so, with this understanding, you may now start to understand where I'm coming from when I say that dreams and astral projection could happen at the same time, because a large part of ourselves is still dormant, subjective, unconscious, dreaming. If you look into quantum physics, you'll see that it's usually understood that there are at least 9 dimensions in nature. The third dimension being the physical plane, and the astral plane being commonly known as the 5th dimension. And so we're here talking and struggling to comprehend the 5th dimension, but we can't even begin to imagine how to speculate and grasp about the realities of the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th dimensions, or above that either. If you listen to my last experience about trying to wake unconscious people up in the astral, you'll hear that I saw my girlfriend unconscious in the astral plane, and that when I tried to make her conscious of herself, I started to see a sort of dream phantom double of her come from somewhere else and begin to merge with her. It's my theory that in reality, the unconscious astral body of her that I was with was very unconscious, and that her primary awareness was actually lodged and grounded within another dream world somewhere else at the same time. You know, we are multi-dimensional beings. And in our current state, we are also fragmented beings with fragmented consciousness, with little bits of ourselves and our awareness scattered everywhere, here and there. You know, just think, in the physical, we can think multiple thoughts at the same time. Our minds can be full of noise, beyond layers and layers. And with that, we can be in a physical location, but be completely somewhere else in our heads at the same time. And this is really no different than dreaming when we're in the astral. So to give an example, think of a child who isn't interested in his classroom at all, and instead goes into fantasies in his mind. Now, he is attending the class, but he isn't really there. So in this case, the child literally is in two worlds at the same time. As above, so below. This can happen in the physical and also in the astral. As to which dreams or astral experiences we remember upon awakening, I think that's up to the individual. Since posting my astral class experience, I've already had a few people who say they remembered certain dreams of classes. So some people do remember unconscious astral experiences, but I don't think it's as common. What I suspect and what I understand is that people tend to remember the experiences or the dreams that are more interesting or fun to them or their ego, the ones that really make an impression on their mind. And so when it comes to experiences in the astral, the individual may be more subconsciously inclined not to believe it, or not be as interested in such experiences, and therefore the subconscious doesn't have as much power or desire in bringing back the memory to the conscious mind. There's also no willpower from the individual to remember those experiences. If you are working with dreams and your experiences at night, then of course you have a much bigger chance of recalling such experiences. It's like when children go to school and they simply aren't that interested in the class. At the end of the child's day, they'll probably be more interested in what they did with their friends than remembering the boring lessons that they had. And when the parents ask them what they did during their outing at school, they'll probably tell them the more entertaining things they did with their friends or in the playground, because that's what would have made a stronger impression on their mind. So, I hope my little conjecture on the complexity of non-physical experiences makes sense and how they can be truly mind-boggling and go beyond our conventional ideas of how we usually understand typical dreams and astral projections to be, and how the line between dreams and astral projection can be tremendously blurred. Although this is all very interesting, my advice is to just keep it simple and keep your practice at one step at a time. I didn't come to any of these theories or conclusions by thinking about them or hypothesizing. No, these are just thoughts that arise instantaneously based on years of patient and practical experience. You may not ever think these specific thoughts that I'm having, but I'm sure they are helpful for your own contemplation and consideration. We are all unique expressions of consciousness and all hold our own wisdom. When you start to awaken your own consciousness, you'll spring forth your own wisdom from your own fountain of understanding, which will be different from mine, yet probably have very similar truths. Much like how there are different traditions, religions, and sciences throughout history which all connect to each other in different ways. So, thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. There will be much more like this on the way. And if you'd like me to clarify about absolutely anything, simply just ask a question in the comment below, and I will get back to you. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a link for the Patreon as well. And if you'd like to be notified when I upload a new video, just click the bell button, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.